Right now, as you're watching this, there's a voice in your head. It's reading these words, commenting on them, maybe agreeing, maybe disagreeing. You think that voice is you, your thoughts, your consciousness, your identity. But what if I told you that voice, the one narrating your entire life, isn't you at all? What if it's something else? Something darker. Something that's been lying to you since the moment you became aware of it. Today we're going into the disturbing truth about your inner voice, and what you discover will change how you see yourself forever. Because that voice you trust, it might be your greatest enemy. Let me ask you something. When was the last time your inner voice said something genuinely kind about you? Not just neutral, not just factual, but truly compassionate. Most people can't answer that question. Because for most of us, the voice in our head is a relentless critic, a constant commentator pointing out every flaw, every mistake, every reason we're not good enough. You're going to fail. They don't like you. You shouldn't have said that. Everyone thinks you're stupid. These aren't occasional thoughts. For many people, this is the default state of their inner dialogue. A stream of negativity so constant it becomes background noise. And here's the disturbing part, you've normalized it. Psychologists studying self-talk discovered something chilling. When researchers asked participants to write down their inner dialogue word for just 1 hour, most people were shocked. They realized they were speaking to themselves in ways they would never speak to another human being. One participant described it as, "Discovering I have an abusive relationship with myself." Another said, "If someone talked to my child the way I talk to myself, I'd call the police." The voice isn't just negative, it's cruel. Methodically, systematically cruel. And you've been listening to it your entire conscious life. But here's where it gets truly disturbing. That voice, the one you think is you, isn't actually your consciousness. It's a construction. A narrative your brain creates to make sense of the chaos of existence. Neuroscientists studying consciousness have discovered something profound and unsettling. The you that narrates your experience isn't the same as the you that experiences it. There's a gap, a delay. Your brain makes decisions milliseconds before your conscious voice explains those decisions to you, which means the voice isn't making choices. It's justifying them after the fact. Think about the last impulsive thing you did. Maybe you snapped at someone, ate something you didn't plan to, said yes when you meant to say no. Did your inner voice decide to do that? Or did it explain why you did it after you already started doing it? "I'm just stressed. I deserve this. I didn't want to be rude." These aren't decisions, they're rationalizations. Your inner voice is a storyteller, not a decision maker. And it's not always telling you the truth. This phenomenon is called the narrative self, or the interpreter. It's a function of your left hemisphere that constantly creates explanations for your behavior, even when those explanations are completely wrong. In split-brain patients, people whose brain hemispheres have been surgically separated, researchers can give commands to the right hemisphere that the left hemisphere doesn't know about. When the patient follows those commands, the left hemisphere's interpreter immediately fabricates a reason. "Why did you stand up?" "I wanted to stretch." The person genuinely believes this explanation, but it's a lie their brain constructed to maintain the illusion of unified consciousness, which means your inner voice isn't reporting reality. It's creating a story about reality, and that story is often fiction. Now let's talk about where this voice comes from, because it's not innate, it's learned. Developmental psychologists studying childhood consciousness discovered that young children don't have an inner voice, not the way adults do. Around age 5 to 7, something shifts. Children begin to internalize the voices of authority figures around them. Parents, teachers, caregivers. The way these external voices speak becomes the template for internal dialogue. If a child is constantly criticized, their inner voice becomes critical. If they're shamed, their inner voice becomes shameful. If they're compared unfavorably to others, their inner voice becomes comparative and competitive. What this means is disturbing. The voice in your head isn't originally yours, it's an echo, a ghost. The internalized judgment of people who had power over you when you were too young to defend yourself. That parent who called you lazy? That's why your inner voice calls you lazy now. That teacher who said you'd never amount to anything? That's why your inner voice predicts failure. That bully who mocked your appearance? That's why your inner voice obsesses over perceived flaws. You think you're thinking your own thoughts, but you're replaying someone else's script. Clinical psychologists call this introjection. the process of absorbing external criticism so deeply it becomes part of your self-concept. And here's what makes it insidious. Once that critical voice is internalized, you don't need the external critic anymore. You've become your own oppressor. The abuse continues internally long after the original abuser is gone. You carry them with you, in your head, every day, telling you you're not enough, and you believe it's your own authentic assessment. But it's not, it never was. Let me show you how dark this gets. Your inner voice doesn't just criticize, it sabotages. Psychologists studying self-handicapping behavior, where people create obstacles to their own success, discovered something disturbing. The inner voice actively talks people out of opportunities. You're not ready. You'll embarrass yourself. Don't even try. And people listen. They cancel interviews, avoid relationships, abandon dreams. Not because they actually can't succeed, but because the voice convinced them not to try. This is called cognitive distortion, systematic errors in thinking that reinforce negative beliefs. Your inner voice specializes in these distortions. Catastrophizing. If I fail this test, my life is over. All or nothing thinking. I made one mistake, so I'm a complete failure. Mind reading. Everyone at the party thought I was weird. Fortune telling. I know this relationship will end badly. These aren't rational assessments. They're cognitive traps, and your inner voice leads you into them repeatedly. The most disturbing distortion is personalization, the belief that everything is about you and reflects on you. Someone's in a bad mood? Your inner voice says, it's my fault. A project fails? I'm incompetent. A relationship ends? I'm unlovable. And it never rests. The voice takes external circumstances and turns them into evidence of your inadequacy. It's not analyzing reality. It's building a case against you. Researchers studying rumination, repetitive negative thinking, found that people with depression spend an average of 8 hours per day in negative self-talk. 8 hours, an entire workday, every day. Their inner voice is a full-time job of self-destruction. But here's what's truly chilling. Even people without clinical depression spend 60–70% of their inner dialogue on negative content. Worries, regrets, self-criticism, comparisons. Your inner voice defaults to negativity, not because you're broken, but because that's what it was designed to do. You see, evolutionarily, negative bias kept our ancestors alive. The voice that says that shadow might be a predator survives longer than the voice that says everything's fine. But in modern life, there are no predators, just your inner voice, treating every social interaction, every email, every decision like a life or death threat. The negativity that once protected you now torments you, and you can't turn it off. Now I want you to do something disturbing. For the next 30 seconds, just listen to your inner voice. Don't try to control it. Just observe what it says. What thoughts are arising right now as you watch this video? Notice anything? Maybe your inner voice is evaluating me. Is this guy credible? Maybe it's evaluating you. I already knew this. This doesn't apply to me. Maybe it's completely off topic. I need to check my phone. What's for dinner? The voice never stops. It comments, it judges, it narrates. Even when you're trying to be present, it's chattering away, creating a layer of interpretation between you and direct experience. Buddhist philosophy has known this for thousands of years. They call it monkey mind, the restless, uncontrollable mental chatter that dominates consciousness. In meditation practice, the goal is to observe the voice without identifying with it, to recognize it as mental phenomena, not as you. And when people first succeed at this, when they manage to witness their inner voice from a distance, the reaction is often profound. If I can observe the voice, who is doing the observing? This is the disturbing recognition at the heart of consciousness studies. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness beneath the thoughts. The voice is a process happening to you, not the essence of who you are. But most people never make this distinction. They are completely fused with their inner voice. Every thought feels like truth. Every judgment feels like reality. Every prediction feels like prophecy. This is called cognitive fusion, the inability to separate yourself from your mental content. And it's a prison. Because if you are your thoughts, then negative thoughts mean you are negative. Anxious thoughts mean you are anxious. Worthless thoughts mean you are worthless. You can't challenge the voice because you think the voice is you. Acceptance and commitment therapy. A modern psychological approach teaches people to diffuse from thoughts, to see them as mental events rather than facts. One technique is to prefix every thought with, I'm having the thought that. I'm having the thought that I'm going to fail. I'm having the thought that no one likes me. This simple addition creates distance. Suddenly, the thought is an object you can observe rather than a truth you must believe. And that distance is liberation, because once you realize you are not the voice, you can choose whether to listen to it. But here's where it gets even darker. Sometimes the voice isn't just negative, it's destructive. Clinical psychologists studying intrusive thoughts, unwanted, disturbing thoughts that feel alien, discovered that they're far more common than people realize. Most people experience them. Thoughts of harming yourself, harming others, taboo sexual thoughts, blasphemous thoughts if you're religious. These thoughts appear unbidden, shocking and horrifying the person experiencing them. And the inner voice responds with panic. Why would I think that? What's wrong with me? Am I dangerous? Here's the truth. Intrusive thoughts aren't desires, they're not predictions, they're mental noise. Your brain generates thousands of thoughts per day. Most are mundane, some are random, a few are disturbing. The content doesn't mean anything about who you are, but your inner voice treats them as significant, as revealing, as diagnostic of your character. So you try to suppress them, which paradoxically makes them stronger. Psychologists call this thought suppression rebound. Tell yourself not to think about a white bear, and you'll think about it constantly. Try not to have disturbing thoughts and they'll intensify. Your inner voice creates a war with your own mind, and you can't win. In severe cases, this becomes obsessive-compulsive disorder. The inner voice becomes tyrannical, demanding rituals, issuing threats. If you don't check the door 5 times, something terrible will happen. If you don't wash your hands again, you'll contaminate everything. The person knows these thoughts are irrational, but the voice is so loud, so persistent, so terrifying, they comply anyway. This is the voice at its most malevolent. Not guiding, not protecting, tormenting, and the person is trapped in their own head with an abuser they can't escape. Even for people without OCD, the voice can be cruel in subtler ways. It replays embarrassing moments from years ago. It catastrophizes about the future. It compares you to everyone around you and finds you lacking. It tells you you're a fraud, that everyone can see through you, that you don't deserve success or love or happiness. This is called the inner critic in psychodynamic therapy. And it's not trying to help you improve. It's trying to keep you small, safe, invisible. Because visibility feels dangerous to a psyche that was once punished for being seen. The voice isn't evil, but it isn't you. It's a protective mechanism gone rogue, a guard dog that attacks its owner, and until you recognize it as separate from your core self, it will continue to control your life. So what do you do with this information? How do you live with a voice you can't trust? First, understand this. You cannot eliminate the inner voice. It's neurologically hardwired. As long as you have language, you'll have inner speech. But you can change your relationship to it. Cognitive behavioral therapy teaches thought challenging, examining the evidence for and against what the voice says. My inner voice says I'll fail. What's the actual evidence? I've succeeded before, I'm prepared. The voice is catastrophizing, not predicting. Mindfulness practices teach observation without judgment. When the voice speaks, you note it. There's a critical thought. There's an anxious prediction. You don't engage, you don't argue. You simply acknowledge and let it pass. Like watching clouds. The voice loses power when you stop taking it seriously, when you recognize it as mental weather, not gospel truth. Some therapists recommend personifying the voice. Give it a name, a character. When it speaks, you can say, "That's just Larry being pessimistic again." This creates psychological distance. The voice becomes something happening to you, not something you are. And that distance is crucial, because once you're not fused with it, you can choose. You can hear what it says and decide that's not helpful right now, and move on. There's also something radical happening in trauma therapy. Internal family systems theory suggests we don't have one inner voice. We have many, different parts of the psyche with different agendas: the critic, the protector, the wounded child, the wise elder. These parts are in constant dialogue, and the voice you hear is whichever part is loudest at the moment. IFS therapy teaches you to identify these parts, understand their roles, and negotiate with them. I hear you, critic. You're trying to protect me from embarrassment, but right now I need the courage part to speak instead. You become the conductor of your internal orchestra, not a hostage to whichever instrument is loudest. But here's the deepest truth. Beneath the voice, beneath the chatter, beneath the narrative, there's something else. A deeper awareness. A consciousness that exists before words, before judgment, before story. When you meditate deeply, when you experience flow states, when you're in moments of genuine presence, the voice quiets, and what remains is pure awareness. Consciousness without content. This is who you actually are. Not the voice, not the thoughts, not the story, the witnessing presence beneath it all. Most people never access this. They live their entire lives identified with the voice, believing its lies, following its commands, suffering its abuse, and when they die, they never knew there was something deeper, something truer, something that was watching the voice all along. The voice in your head is not you. It never was. It's a tool. Sometimes useful, often destructive, always limited. It's a narrative function, not your essential nature. And once you understand this, everything changes. You can hear the voice say, "You're going to fail," and respond, "That's an interesting prediction. Let's see what actually happens." You can hear it say, "You're worthless," and respond, "That's the critic talking. It's trying to protect me, but it's wrong." You can hear it say, "You should be ashamed," and respond, "That's internalized judgment. It doesn't reflect reality." The voice will never be silent, but it doesn't have to be in control. You are not your thoughts. You are not your inner dialogue. You are the awareness that hears it, the consciousness that exists whether the voice is kind or cruel, rational or chaotic, silent or screaming. And that awareness, that deeper you, is untouchable, unbreakable, already whole. The voice has been lying to you, telling you you're not enough, telling you you're broken, telling you you're the problem. But now you know the truth. The voice is the problem, not you. And once you separate yourself from it, once you recognize it as mental phenomena rather than identity, you're free. Not free from the voice, but free from its tyranny. So the next time that voice speaks, ask yourself, is this true? Is this helpful? Is this even mine? Or is it something darker that I've been carrying? Something that pretends to be me but isn't. Something I can finally put down. If this disturbed you, if this made you question everything you thought about your own mind, there's more to explore. The darkness runs deeper than you imagine. Leave your thoughts below. Or don't. Because maybe, for once, you can exist without needing the voice to comment on everything.